You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
I ain't gonna lie, your W's look a little crooked though, Kadeem.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe because my thumbs aren't there.
That's weird. Why your hand look like that?
Oh, because I've got my fingers crossed as opposed to like just on top of each other.
All right, man. We throwing up gang signs, man. Start us off, bro.
Today is my favorite NFL week, I guess. And from a purely selfish reason. Normally, being in the UK, our kickoff times are 6 p.m., 9 p.m., and then 1 a.m. Because of daylight saving, essentially, the Dolphins kicked off at 5 p.m. The Dolphins got a dub as well. So this is the only week where it's a reasonable kickoff time to be a London or a UK NFL fan. And the Dolphins made it that much sweeter by beating the Detroit Lions 31-27. I feel like there is so much to get through to the point where like even my notes are all over the place. Before we really delve into the game, Victory Visor, Charlie, how are you?
Victory Visor is in the building, man. It feels good to put this visor on, bro. It just let me know that we really did it. Got another W. Hopefully I'll put this visor on for the next 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We got a bye coming up. But yeah, man, that's the hope. But let me take it off so I can go into the intro. You already. Y'all know what time it is. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Miami Dolphins improved to 5-3 after defeating the Detroit Lions in a game that it was closer than what I think all like for it to be. What was it? What we win? What was the score? 31-27?
Yeah.
Man, Kadeem. And while I'm watching the game, only thing I could think of was us on Fins Up Friday saying, it should be, we should win this. And I'm just watching it. I'm like, now this is some same old Dolphin stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I was real quick on the defense, like, no, this not same old Dolphin stuff. This not same old Dolphin stuff. But dropping one to the Lions, that's some same old Dolphin stuff, bro. That's unacceptable. We couldn't do that. What was your takeaway from the game, bro?
Before we delve into the game, I think it's only right to say a would-be happy birthday to Jason Jenkins, the former Miami Dolphins employee who passed away this year. The Lions had an excellent touch of having his photo at the game and in the press box and stuff like that. So wonderful touch by the Lions, and just happy birthday to him, and thoughts and prayers to his family. But yeah, my thoughts on watching the game were, I don't know if it's same old Dolphins. I think we went into that game saying this Lions. So the Lions were 1-5 heading into the game. We said they were 1-6. We kind of preempted the loss, but we said that this Lions team, even though you are what your record is, this Lions team are better than one win, and that first half performance from the Lions offense, I didn't know if it was just them being really good or the Dolphins defense is buns. And it's like you said, it was very same on Dolphins. If the Lions beat the Dolphins on Sunday, it would have been because the Dolphins beat the Dolphins. The amount of penalties were horrendous, and it got cleaned up in the second half. But that first half, it was just the Dolphins could not find a way to get out their own way, and there's so much to get to for that first half alone. Where would you like to start?
Bro, I'm gonna start before the kickoff even started, bro. I looked at the inactives and I seen Eric Rowe inactive, and I seen Craycraft 400. For those who don't know who Craycraft 400 is, River Craycraft was inactive, and I'm like, why is River Craycraft inactive? You know what I'm saying? But whatever, we'll find out. And then we had Eric Rowe inactive. I'm like, I don't remember Rowe being hurt. So what's going on here? We need as many DBs as we can get. And Rowe is the what friend of the podcast, Devon Holland said, tight end stopper. And we were already giving him his flowers for playing tight ends pretty well. And we had to run up against Hawkinson today. So I'm like, okay, why is Rowe inactive? And during the broadcast, they say Rowe was inactive because Coach McDaniel feels like everyone has to do everything basically, and Rowe isn't a special teamer. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know about that one, Coach. Like, hey, I like you to run some offenses, which when I'm on him, when he blows, now I'm gonna say he blows it, but the past 2 weeks, I think he coached his worst 2 games, right? And then one of them we got a W for. So it's cool. It was covered up by a W. And even in this game, the man coached a game, bro. Like play calling was in there this game. But I don't know about sitting Eric Rowe because he don't play special teams. I'm going to just be real with you. So going into the beginning of the game now, Craycraft 400 doesn't dress. And we get our first look at Braylon Edwards. Braylon Edwards was the talk of the town.
Braylon Sanders, not Braylon Edwards.
Braylon, bro, I've been calling this man Edwards for like the past 5 hours. Braylon Sanders was the talk of the town in camp and had a great preseason at practice. And we're talking about practice. And everybody wanted to see him. Like, oh, we need to see this dude, this man, and I remember he had some pretty good catches in college. I'm not going to lie to you. So when I found out Sanders was active, I'm like, dang, what does that say about Eric Ezukama? You know what I'm saying? But the best players will play. So I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like it. Let's do it. Braylon Sanders gets his first NFL catch. And shortly after, when I say shortly after, I'm talking about 3 steps and 1 second after, he gets his first NFL fumble. And I'm like, yo, that's not good, bro. That's not how you come into the league. So it was unfortunate. And then the broadcast like, oh, Tua set him up. Hold on, bro. That wasn't no setup. That wasn't, when your quarterback sets you up and you got to jump across the middle and you got to clutch real fast. That was not that. Braylon Sanders had time to catch the ball, put it away, run a couple steps, and make a move, then fumble. That's not a setup, bro. That's completely on the receiver. I don't know how Tua's name was invoked in that one. But yeah, that's what happened there. So Braylon Sanders comes in and fumbles, and I'm like, not today, y'all boys. You know what I'm saying? Not today. Like, can we not do this? LB, one half of the Barracuda boys was talking about, yo, I thought Craycraft was doing pretty good. I'm like, he was doing pretty good. However, let's be very fair. We don't know what blocks Craycraft was missing. Maybe if he was missing any, or you know what I'm saying, or if he wasn't doing well in practice, we have no idea. But then I also said it doesn't matter. Like it could easily be Craycraft didn't do anything wrong, but Braylon Sanders was performing in practice. So it's not always a discipline. It's a elevation. Like, yo, this guy is just balling in practice and we have to see him. And next thing you know, we seen him and we just hope we didn't see him in that way. But go ahead, Kadeem.
So you touched on a few things there. The Eric Rowe thing was interesting because I say apparently, I don't follow Eric Rowe on social media, but apparently he tweeted, "I'm just as shocked as you are." Now, that could be anything, but I think Dolphin fans put 2 and 2 together and was like, no one expected him to not dress.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, in terms of Braylon Sanders being, I guess, elevated, it could be the same with McKinley. Maybe I guess Josh Boyer and Mike McDaniels or something extremely special from McKinley to say this is your week, go and prove yourself, and then Eric Rowe was the unfortunate guy. But
Verone McKinley, the UDFA from Oregon rookie, was elevated to start in Eric Rowe's place.
yeah, but what was interesting is that, and I'm in no way saying that the start the Dolphins had anything to do with Verone McKinley playing, but the Lions came out, drove down the field like they was playing, myself at DB. Like it didn't matter what was going on. The Dolphins defense could not get a stop. The Dolphins offense get the ball, flag on the play, Liam Eichenberg, and also shout out to Liam Eichenberg. He had an injury in the game, and the fact that CBS didn't show replay, his season's probably done.
You hate that. You hate to see it. You hate to hear it, and you don't wish it on anybody. Sounds like Liam Eichenberg's out for the season, unfortunately, with a knee injury that they did not want to show the replay of. That's heartbreaking.
100%. I know there will be, and I saw some Dolphins fans saying, well, could he not play anymore? It's like, that's someone's.
Yeah, man, I ain't got time for them boys. I don't got time for people like that.
None at all. But Dolphins opening drive, Braylon Sanders gets his first. This is your moment, and very quickly, this isn't his moment. And then the Lions get the ball, and the Lions drive down the field, score a touchdown. Dolphins down 14-0, and I was just like, not today, please.
Not today. Not today, bro.
And especially when it's to the start of the game so well. The Dolphin defense is what it is, but it was just like, I don't want another shootout. Even though we gave credit to this Lions team, they're still 1-5. A Bunt Patriots team beat them 29-0. Are you telling me that in the Lions opening 2 drive, so I was like, let's not do this. And I think also on the Braylon Sanders catch, I literally wrote down, where is Cedric Wilson? And again, maybe it's not a demotion of sorts from Cedric Wilson, but maybe Braylon Sanders, done so well in practice that he earned a shot. But it's very, very telling that opening drive, which is obviously scripted, that they're looking at Braylon Sanders in a situation where you would assume that would be Cedric Wilson. So Cedric Wilson at the moment is a 6.5 million punt returner.
He might be a 7.5 million punt returner.
Yeah, he's. I don't think it's fair to call him wide receiver 1 Jakeem Grant's replacement, but right now we are paying a lot of money to someone to return kicks and punts, and it's not even like we're getting wide receiver 1 Jakeem Grant, yards and touchdowns out of it. So I'm sure midweek we'll look at Cedric Wilson, what's going on. But yeah, it was by far the worst possible start the Dolphins had. And credit to Tua for, and no, credit to McDaniel as well for sticking to the game plan, for driving down the field over and over again. And if you're a neutral watching that first half, this is exactly what you want to see. 2 offenses just going toe for toe, blow for blow, touchdown after touchdown. If you, like me, are a defense guy, I'm just showing because I'm going to get a stop. Like, neither team punted in the first half. To me, that's no good football because I want to see my team get stops, get punts, get turnovers. But it didn't happen. And yeah, that first half was very entertaining, to say the least.
Bro, Cedric Wilson, a lot of those earlier on in the season, first 3 games when we went 3-0, there was a lot of Craycraft, there's a lot of Sherfield, not a lot of Sherfield, but a lot of the 2, right? And you got to imagine those were supposed to be Cedric Wilson targets. Now, to be fair to Cedric Wilson, apparently he is battling a rib injury. So I'm not sure how serious this rib injury is. He's still playing. He's still active. He's returning punts. No,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I hear you. You're on the injury report with ribs, but still. So I don't know what's going on there, Kadeem. I don't mind it though. I don't mind. I think the best players should play. I think the best players should get the touches, the play called for them. And I was here on this podcast preseason saying Trent Sherfield is an actual receiver, bro. He's not just the the Mac Hollins replacement, where Mac Hollins was a special teamer and we got hurt so bad that we had to play him at receiver. Now, Trent Sherfield is an actual receiver that plays special teams, and this is kind of talking about what Mike McDaniel was talking about with Eric Rowe doesn't play special teams and we want flexibility and all this other. I don't know if I love that, coach. But Tua Ningamanu Olipolo Tagovailoa goes 29 for 36 with 382 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks. While we were down 14-0 and in the midst of everything, of the not today's, there's a 3rd and 13. I'm like, Kadeem, bro. And I said this earlier on this podcast, sometimes a couple episodes ago, but I've never been so comfortable with a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. And this is not to say Tua, this is not the pro Tua argument. But as a Dolphins fan, I watch the Dolphins, and when Tua is playing, I'm so comfortable. I'm like, oh, we're going to pull this off. I don't like being behind the sticks. But this year, Tua has proved that 3rd and anything is attainable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we would never go for 3rd and 8+ before. We would just try to get in the 4th and manageable and field position game, right? So now here goes Coach out here converting on 3rd and 13s and 4th and 7s and going for the home run. I'm like, bro, so Tua, what is it? Hangs heel short on a go route where if he put it in front of him, it's 7. And everybody's doing the bomb sound effect if you had an Optimus football game. You know what I'm saying? Tua's credit, there was a man in front of him, didn't step into the throw, still hung him short. I could hear everybody saying, oh, it was still short. Like, he underthrew him. I'll be real with you, Kadeem. I think Tua had 2 throwaways where there's one was a penalty for illegal shift and illegal motion because he was coming up to the center and the center snapped it and he threw that ball away. So that goes against him as an incomplete pass. And there was another one he threw at the ground where Mostert was in the area. That's another one that was an incomplete pass. So he had in total, if you don't include the throwaways, 5 incompletions the entire game. But yet people will still say, oh, but he underthrew this one route. Yeah, bro. Like, it happens. You feel me? But at the end of the day, the man shows up. I like what we got out of Tua. And this is going to go into a victory lap for Charlie Touche. Because I don't take too many of these. Well, I'm going to tell you this, bro. If there was ever a week, Kadeem, where you were listening to Easy Money and said, man, the first 3 weeks, Tua was playing and Easy Money segment was winning everybody money. Like, oh, we're good over here. I like what's going on here. And then Tua got hurt. Dolphins started losing. Easy Money started losing. Like, yo, this is not good. You feel me? So I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Tua comes back. Dolphins start winning. Easy Money starts hitting again. Listen to this, Kadeem. Remember when I said we were down, I think, 21 against Baltimore?
Yeah.
And I was like, if I was in a place where I could bet the live line, it was like plus 800, right? I would do it. And then you were kind of like, I ain't gonna lie, you looked at me kind of crazy, like, it almost like you gave me a look like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, this is when you do it, right? So I didn't know we were gonna go down 14 to the Lions. I'm like, oh, there's an opportunity here. You know what I'm saying? So I did what I had to do, put some money on the live line because I knew we were gonna come back and win this game. So I took advantage of it. But not only did I take advantage of that, Kadeem, anyone who listened to the Easy Money episode on Fins Up Friday, then you heard to take the Tua over 1.5 touchdown passes. We get a check for that, Kadeem?
Yeah, 100%.
Check. Then I mentioned Tyreek Hill has only had one game under 7 receptions. Under 7 receptions, he had one game. So if the line comes in around 7.5, you should take it. We get a check for that, Kadeem?
Yes, we do.
Jalen Waddle. The DraftKings had Jalen Waddle over under like 67 yards or 60 or something like that. I said Jalen Waddle over 70 yards. We're checking that one off. Yeah?
3 from 3.
Then it got a little interesting. I'm like, yo, Mike Gesicki's on the block, but I like him to get in the box because they might be trying to shop him. And look, Mike Gesicki's in there. He got the best hands on the team, in my opinion. But hear me out, Kadeem. I still don't think we need to move Mike Gesicki because he's available, bro. Like, he's there. You know what I'm saying? Imagine Mike Gesicki wasn't on the team. It would be Waddle, Hill, Sheffield, Waddle, Hill. And Sheffield got in the box, but it didn't count. Why, Kadeem?
Because they needed you. Listen, the Easy Money gods were shining on you today because everyone on social media, when they incorrectly didn't rule that Sheffield touchdown and Mike McDaniel didn't, call the flag or challenge that play, what they didn't know that Mike McDaniel was saying, it's time. It's time. Charlie Touche, I've got you. He was like, yo, Charlie, I've got you.
We're here.
And he said, you know what? I'm not like, I trust my offense so much. Obviously, Tua would have had 4 touchdowns. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because now's the time when Alec Kingold step up. And I'm gonna do a Charlie. I'm gonna do it really, really bad. I'm gonna do a Charlie. It was slow motion. Bow, 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 bow. Alec Kingold. He got there. He went on the center. He snapped it. Touchdown, Alec Kingold. Touchdown.
Let's go.
Alec Kingold.
Let's go. We're cashing out anybody who stuck it out with us the first 7 weeks, and Alec Ingold did not cash out on the anytime touchdown. We're cashing out today, baby. Alec Ingold finds the box, and you go up plus $600 just like that. Thank you to Alec Ingold for cashing us out on the plus 1,300 anytime touchdown. But yeah, man, it was a good week for Easy Money, and all of those things hit. Like, it was just crazy. But that's all I got right now, Kadeem. I'll give you the floor back.
Per Stats Muse, Tua Tagovailoa has a passer rating of 142.7 with 492 yards and 7 touchdowns in 6 games on third down this season. That's on third down. That's when, it's pressure time. Can you convert in third down? I believe his stats on the season are 36 completions from 50 attempts, 9.8 yards average. And that's the thing. I believe it was the Baltimore game where on third down, Mike McDaniel drawing out plays going, yo, we're going long. We're not even trying to get the first down. We're trying to get the first down and a touchdown. So I believe the Jalen Waddle touchdown, the second one, the deep one, that was on third down. Listen,
on the money. Didn't break the shot.
As Tua said in preseason, it looks good, doesn't it? And again,
look like money to me.
If you're listening, on iTunes podcasts or Spotify, you just heard silence. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw the hand motion. So it's listen, I think I spoke last year, and even at times before Mike McDaniel was the head coach, and I was saying that this team just doesn't throw downfield. This team, even with Tua under center part in the previous regime, it was just, I couldn't call it dink and dunk. It was just nothing. But they've shown that they're willing to take chunk plays. They're willing to, throw the ball past, 5, 6, 7 yards. And Tua had himself a game. I personally think this is Tua's best performance as a Dolphin. I don't think there was a single pass where how people want to say these could be interceptions. I don't think there was I don't think there's a single fast pass where one there could be a could be interception, which isn't even a stat until Tua started, throwing the would be interception. No one's talking about would be touchdown, but would no.
Hey, but hold on. We got a stat for that too. Patrick Mahomes threw the most could be interceptions or would be interceptions when he won MVP. And last year, Josh Allen threw the most would be interceptions too. So if we're ever going to talk about would be interceptions, I'm not ever letting it slide on this podcast without mentioning Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So that means Tua's in good company.
Yeah. And I think he just had Mike McDaniel drew up a brilliant play against the Lions or plays against the Lions to put the money where it needs to be. He scrambled and he slid. I was like, yo, we're learning. This is brilliant. So yeah, I think before we turn the ball over to the defensive side, I guess even special teams as well.
Hold up, before I don't want you to go too far though, because I really want you to repeat that stat. Because while I'm watching the game, and a part of me feeling the comfort that I have watching the Dolphins offense is because I trust our quarterback. I'm like, bro, I trust the quarterback so much that like I have this comfort. And I asked everyone who's listening to the podcast, I asked everyone, would they rather have the offense on the field with the game on the line or the defense on the field with the game on the line? And we'll get back to that question, but I never waver. I'm like, bro, as long as Tua is the quarterback, I trust he would make the right decision and right passes with the ball, right? So I took a note today. I'm like, bro, every third down, I'm like, I think we're gonna be good. I think we're straight. Now, do I think we're gonna convert every third down? Probably not. But I'm not as like my blood pressure isn't through the roof no more because we have a third and long. You know what I'm saying? So can you give us the stats again for the third down stat?
So in this season alone, Tua has a passer rating of 142.7 with 492 yards and 7 touchdowns in 6 games on third down this season.
On third down.
That's just now. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see my team in third downs. Let's convert third downs as much as possible. But yeah, to follow on from what you said, on third downs, and again, credit to Mike McDaniel as well for drawing these plays. I'm not trying to credit to the team in general. Mike McDaniel's drawing up the plays, Tua is performing on these plays, and this is why you get it's. I was speaking to George, our graphics guy at Go Time Dolphins, and he asked me, what makes Tua so good, and I was like, because he's accurate, but also he makes the players around him better, and the players around him make him look better. And you saw it when Tua wasn't starting. Everything was the same outside of, obviously, Tua wasn't there. And yes, Teron Armstead, there was basically, I think for one game, no left tackle, but they're basically dealing with the exact same hands. And this, again, if there's ever any question marks around whose offense this is, in the nicest possible way, it is Tua's. I just want to
go. Were you about to transition somewhere?
Yeah, so that's all you.
Yeah, so hear me out. I got a serious question. Like, this is a legit question for everyone listening. All the Dolphin fans. Matter of fact, if you're not a Dolphin fan, we appreciate you rocking with Go Time Dolphins because we got a couple of y'all out there actually. So we appreciate everybody who listens to Go Time Dolphins who aren't even Dolphin fans. But this question's for everybody, and this is for real. When the Dolphins are without Tua, do we look more like the Saints without Drew Brees, where they still went on like, if you have a serviceable quarterback, you can still win games. And Teddy Bridgewater came in for the Saints and won 5 in a row. Do the Dolphins look like the Saints who you could just insert a quarterback, or do the Dolphins look more like a Packer-less Aaron Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? Or Aaron Rodgers-less Packers, I should say. So, and the reason why I asked that question is because the proof is in the pudding. Y'all say that in London, Kadeem?
We do.
Y'all eat pudding in London, Kadeem?
I don't, but we do.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So the proof is.
We also call it dessert. I'm sure you guys do as well.
Yeah, pudding is a dessert or a snack.
Okay.
I'm just saying the proof is still in it, whether it's a dessert or a snack. I'm just saying the proof is in it. So the proof is in the pudding that when Tua is not playing for the Dolphins, it looks like a Aaron Rodgers list Green Bay Packers. Like you don't know what you're going to get out of this Green Bay team, and I doubt you're going to get W's. As opposed to Tua's not playing, and the team looks like the Saints with Sean Payton at coach, and you're still going to get wins. So that's just something to take into consideration. Mike Gesicki at the end of the game, turns out that play that Mike Gesicki scored on was a broken play. Mike Gesicki was running a route. He looked at his route that he was supposed to run, and it was already covered. Before he even got there, he was like, yo, I'm not running over there just to get myself covered. So he cut it short, and him and Tua, because of the chemistry, because of the relationship they have, they both read the exact same thing. Tua put it back shoulder on a shortened route that Mike Gesicki didn't even know he was going to run, and then it ended up being 6 points. Like, yo, that's chemistry right there, and that's chemistry that you can't get just because you put let's just say Cedric Wilson in there, or Hunter Long in there just because you decided to trade Mike Gesicki for whatever reason. I needed to make it clear. Mike Gesicki got paid. He's already got paid $15 million for this season alone. Even if you move him, you don't get nothing. You don't free up no cap space. You might as well keep this man on the team. Other than that, Kadeem, that's all I really got on Tua, bro. But I know you was about to make a transition.
Well, very quickly. So Mike McDaniel confirmed or revealed, I guess, that touchdown to Gesicki was Tua's fourth read. Like, and Tua got there quickly as well. It wasn't like it was 1, 2, 3. Tua progressed through his reads very quickly. And you don't rock with social media the way I do, or
I don't.
you two, I guess.
Not even a little bit.
There was a let's say a Dolphins alleged supporter. I'll leave it at that. And he went on social media and during the preseason said that Tua fakes his reads. That Tua doesn't actually go through his reads. He fakes his reads. And the fact you're laughing is like, yo, like, you really do. Like, at what point are we going to stop giving Tua the credit he deserves? How is he going to say that Tua fakes reads? Like, do you know how stupid you have to be to even say that? So, as you can see, I think it's the first waddle touchdown as well. You can see Tua going through his reads like a somewhat half decent quarterback does, and for Mike McDaniel to say that touchdown to Gesicki was his fourth read, unless he knew that was a fourth read, but wanted to be his first read, so he faked the first 3 reads,
and he knew it was going to be covered because Mike Gesicki had to shorten it. Like, this is nonsense.
So we're having fun. It's victory, it's victory Monday. It's Dolphins win. I do have some negatives. The Dolphins didn't play a perfect game.
Wait, because I thought you was going to give me something else. Because who was that? Did you say the reporter's name?
No. It was a Dolphins YouTube person.
Okay. I don't know how you fake a read. Like, let me just look off, and just go to my first read. Like, is that how you do that? Like that. Shout out to the dude on ESPN who said Tua is a high-end game manager. Never heard that term before. High-end game manager. So he's not just a game manager. He's a high-end, high-level, quality, superior game manager. You know what that sounds like, Kadeem? It sounds like a top 10 quarterback, but you just don't want to say he's a top 10 quarterback. So he's above average quarterback, and he's high-end game manager. Bro, you stop making terms up, bro. Just say the dude is nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to give credit, bro. Like, yo, dude is nice. I was wrong. He's nice. That's it. Just say that. But I'm done with Tua, bro. Like, we could go ahead.
So I want to start with the play calling in the fourth quarter, which I've got down. It was pretty conservative. There was back-to-back run play. So at this point, we're up 4. The Dolphins have turned it around, up 4. Dolphins get the ball back. I'm thinking, let's kill this game off. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep hitting deep passes. Let's essentially keep the ball in Tua's hands. Instead, not only did we put the ball in Chase Edmonds' hands, he didn't have a bad game, but Raheem Mostert had, again, run the ball well when his number was called. We saw some Savon Ahmed today, great.
Which we
But
thought we might have seen.
yeah, but back-to-back plays, not only do we put the ball in Chase Edmonds' hands, but also Hill and Waddle were on the sideline, which to me was like, yeah, we're running the ball. And it's one of those things where, listen, Hill and Waddle can both block. How well they can block, that's debatable. I'm not going to get that debate right now. But I feel like that conservative play calling allowed the Lions to end the game with a chance, if that makes sense. Instead of just scoring another touchdown, going up 2 possessions, and saying to the Lions, listen, even if you manage to drive the ball down the field and score a touchdown, one, you can't take the lead or even tie the game, or we're going to get the ball back. So to run the ball with the guy who's not the hot hand and to have your best playmakers off the field, even if Tua wants to check out, it's one of those things where, yes, Waddle and Hill need breaks. I'm not saying keep him on the field for every single snap, but I feel like those two plays in particular, and listen, it's two plays from the entirety of the game, but to me, they were very significant in terms of we stopped doing what we were doing. We ended up not converting a first down, punting the ball away, and the Lions got the ball with something like 6 minutes left. Is it something you felt watching the game, or will you have to go back and watch the game and say, actually, you know what? I noticed that as well. Or maybe you didn't notice it. Maybe you don't think it's a big a deal.
That it is a big deal, but there's actions off of actions. And I gotta believe McDaniel is smart enough to know that. And what I noticed that for a few games now. And I think one of the broadcast members pointed it out like a game or two ago. And when Waddle and Hill are off the field, it's like a run. And this game, Waddle and Hill were off the field, and it was a play action. You see what I'm saying? So there's actions off of actions on plays. So I gotta believe Mike McDaniel knows that, and he knows that he has a tendency of doing things. So he made the attempt to switch it up. Like, all right, you think we're gonna run it because Waddle and Hill ain't in? Watch this play action. And then that one went to Sherfield. Actually, I think that was incomplete though. But I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but it can be. It can become a big deal if you watch good enough. If there's another team out there that's preparing and they know tendencies, yeah, it can become a big deal. Shout out, since we're talking about Waddle and Hill, the Penguin and the Cheetah, most reception yards by two teammates through the first 8 games is an NFL record, 1,688 yards, NFL record. Shout out to everyone who said, "Oh, Tyreek Hill was just coming to Miami to get the money. He knows his numbers are going to decline." Bam, wrong. Like, dog's going to have his best season ever as a in the NFL as a Miami Dolphin. So, yeah, I don't think that's I don't want to say the least of our concerns, but it's not at the top of the list. And what's at the top of the list, Kadeem, is remember when everyone said, I don't know if Coach McDaniel's good. It has what it takes to be an NFL head coach. And when the team goes through adversity, what are they going to say? Are they going to listen to Coach? And does he have, he has his stature, a smaller stature, and will the team respect him? Right? I got something for you. The team takes on the identity of its head coach. If you look at the Steelers, you can see the identity of Mike Tomlin in that team. If you look at the Pete Carroll-led Seattle Seahawks, Pete Carroll will let everybody be their own personality. He's an interesting character. He has a lot of personality, and that was the identity of the Seahawks. Just be yourself, right? If you look at the swagged out Jimmy Johnson-led Miami Hurricanes, just let them be them, right? So he's a little loose. Coach McDaniels is very, very loose. And now you have a whole gang of penalties, Kadeem. Like, you're loose, you're very loose in personality. You're a loose coach, is cool. You know what I'm saying? You got the everybody in the locker room liking you. You're not really hard on the takes no talent. You know what I'm saying? That was our older coach. And even if you look at our previous coach, and that identity of that football team was like our previous coach. This identity, bro, is we're loose, flow with the wind, go with the wind, draw in the wind if you listen to Trick. You feel me? But at the same time, bro, you can't have all these penalties, and 8 penalties were declined in the first half, Kadeem. That's wild, bro. So look, I love our coach. I like who he is. I like the character that he is. But we finally found out where his weakness is. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know what to call it, but it is in the fact that he cannot get this penalty issue resolved as soon as we need it to be. That is a problem right there. And it's at the top of the list.
I've got it written down here, and I'm sure you've seen the clip. If you haven't seen the clip, it's floating around on Twitter. I'm sure other social media platforms. End of the first half, Dolphins give away another penalty, and I think it might be on defense because Coach McDaniel turns around and says to his coach, "Get it effing fixed." As in,
hey, do you want to share the clip? There's no volume, but do you want to share it on YouTube? I got it right here if you want it.
Send it to me, yeah, and I will pick it up. But yeah, it's one of those things where, again, it was a same old Dolphins first half, and I said earlier, if the Dolphins had lost this game against the Lions on Sunday, it would have been because the Dolphins beat themselves. It was, it was such dumb stuff. It was like over and over and over again, lining up in the neutral zone. Be it Christian Wilkins, be it Xavier Howard, be it Melvin Ingram. It was these illegal shifts on offense, which are mostly Tyreek Hill and stuff. It was just, guys, what are we doing? I know some people have shown a clip or a freeze frame of a Lions player moving before the snap and it wasn't called. Great. Yes, the referees missed stuff. But let's not pretend that, the Dolphins have a massive penalty problem. Now, if it's just not good. And the Dolphins can't keep on having plays brought back or going behind the sticks. Like, I don't know how he fixes it. I think if he were to essentially copy what Brian Flores did with the TNT wall, the techno talent wall, it's not going to work because they'll be like, you don't believe in this. But there has to be, I guess it's a punishment because this is starting to get silly now. And again, we've got some easy games coming up. And the Dolphins offense looks like it might be good enough to overcome some of the penalties. But I know the Dolphins aren't looking down the line, but again, as you say on this platform, Dolphin Podcast, we can do that. I'm looking at playoff football where it's the best against the best. If you're giving away so many penalties, it's the easiest way to be one and done. It doesn't matter if you're putting up 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Giving away that many penalties, teams are going to punish you. You're going to be sat at home in the second week of playing football. We're going to be sitting here with a why aren't we hair face? And it's just it's not good. So yeah, as I get the clip up,
yeah, go ahead. I sent you the clip, but here's the thing, bro. Even in the clip, like you can kind of tell Coach McDaniel, this is not his identity to go yelling at people because of X, Y, and Z mistake. You can kind of tell in the clip, like. And you said, what is the answer? LB asked me the same thing. How do you fix this? I'm going to be real with you. I don't know how you fix this. For everyone watching on YouTube, the clip is up right now. There's no audio because obviously we can't hear what he's saying, but you can read his lips. And Coach McDaniel goes up to him, to the coach and says, to the assistant coach and says, bro, get it effing fixed. Like, and that's after like the fifth one. You know what I'm saying? And then there was more after that one. So, and even as he's saying it, he still don't look like he really put his foot down. It just looked like, yeah, I got to say something now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be real with you, Kadeem. When I was playing Optimist football and high school football, it was like the number one thing you could not do was be a corner, a receiver, or a D lineman and line up offside. Because you go to the line, Kadeem, if you're a D lineman, the ball is right in front of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like you look at the ball when you go down and get set. You have to look at the ball. There's no reason a D lineman should be outside. A corner, the same thing. You line up, you look at the ball to see where you are. A receiver lining up on the ball, the ref could tell him, oh, you're good. They be pointing at, if you see a receiver line up, just his face mask, and he points at the ref, and the ref points back, yeah, you're good. Like they tell you, oh, yeah, you're good. I'm on the ball. I'm off the ball. You feel me? Bro, yeah. This is unacceptable. And that's like one of my favorite words when it comes to things that are unacceptable, because it is. This is unacceptable. I don't know how you fix this. And this is going to be a bit much, the response I give you, but players don't like when the coach gets fired because they feel like they got their coach fired. I ain't lying, bro. I don't know how much this coach is responsible for this. You know what I'm saying? Not Coach McDaniel, but the assistant coach. Like, I don't know how much the assistant coach is responsible for this, but if it keeps happening, something got to happen. Because in a lower level of football, you would just bench a player. Okay, we're going to bench this player because he's lining up all sides. Like, it's everybody, though, Kadeem. Christian Wilkins had it. X had it. A bunch of people, it's just the silliest penalties. You know what I'm saying? So you can't bench everybody. But you could roll an assistant assistant coach's job, though. I'm not saying that it will happen, and I don't even know, again, how much is on the assistant coach, but you just can't let this one slide, bro. This is a lot. There's a lot of penalties, bro. In the past 3 games, it was like, I remember 2 games ago, I said, yeah, coach called his worst game. And then last week, I was like, yo, this game wasn't that much better. And then now this game, but we end up with a W. I'm like, that's a lot, bro. I don't know.
I do want to say that I believe the second half, the Dolphins were a lot cleaner. They were penalty, but they were the Lions. To the point, because I think like the first time the Lions punted them, maybe the second time, they were like on 1st and 30 because penalty kept on bringing them back. So it seems that from my memory of only watching the game once, watching it live and being caught up in the emotions, the second half, the Dolphins cleaned up the penalties, which also brings me to, well, before I get to it, did you watch Friends?
Real quick. So you said the Dolphins cleaned up the penalties. Detroit scored 27 points in the first half, didn't score any points in the second half. So you clean up penalties, and that's your result. But Friends, listen, Kadeem, this is a debate in the States. Friends or Seinfeld, which one is better?
You asking me?
Yes.
I'm not going to answer that question because it might be the last episode we do. So just gonna move on. There's an episode of Friends where you think I'm joking. I'm not answering that question.
Good.
Where Monica gets this job as a like a head chef in the kitchen, and no one respects her. No one.
Oh, I've seen this one.
So what she does is she hires Joey.
Yeah.
And the plan is she's gonna fire him. Yeah. And then everyone's like, so to cut a long story short, she goes to fire him, or the scenario comes up where she's gonna fire him. Joey doesn't play because he gets his money.
Yeah.
And then when she fires him, I feel like Mike McDaniel needs to like hire someone and fire them. I feel like he needs to hire one of these boys and then like, this is unacceptable. What are you doing? You're fired. It's like, everyone's like, what? Like, you're fired. And it's like, oh,
yeah, bro.
But yeah, because outside of that, like, it's one of those things where, again, even in the clip, like, it doesn't really say to me, chest. It's like, yo, get this everything fixed. But it's like,
yeah, I'm telling you,
you don't mean that. And again, it's one of those things where maybe he does mean it, but if you have that loose and relaxed attitude, it's the first time you have to tell off your kid. It's the first time, the substitute teacher comes in and no one's taking him seriously. Like, I'm in no way calling Mike McDaniel a substitute teacher. However, like you said, this whole loose attitude, it's great. It's great when you're just throwing the ball downfield and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the penalties have to go, which you mentioned it already. The Dolphins gave up 27 points before the half, but the second half shut out the Lions. I think it's the second time the Dolphins have done it this season, shut out a team in the second half. The issue is that the defense were just giving up everything, and listen, better teams will have a better second half and continue scoring points. And I don't want to see you in a shootout every single week. Listen, I'm not going to say that the defense is fixed because we didn't shout at the Ravens in the second half, but we cleaned things up and allowed the offense to get back into the game. Tua balled out the entire game against the Lions. But same way I don't have to fix the penalty issue, I don't quite know how to fix the defensive issue outside of bringing in better linebackers, I guess. Because the defensive line, I think, is good. Zach Sealer got his first sack of the season today. Sealer's having himself, another great season. The guy's going to get paid in the off season, if not this season by the Dolphins. Who knows? Jalen Phillips didn't show up on the sack sheet, but again, he's making plays. The DBs, Holland has some nice hits. And I guess the second half, Kayla Kohu made another great stop. But I just feel like I'm not quite sure how this Dolphins defense, and I guess the Dolphins team as a whole, puts together a solid 4 quarters by all phases of the team, if that makes sense. So how do we, maybe not an answer or question and answer for today, but this Dolphins defense, why is it so different in the first half than it is in the second half?
Listen, Kadeem, I don't got an answer for that question. And I do think it has something to do with the coach being so loose. But without throwing the excuse, quote unquote, out there, defense is super banged up. I'll be for real. It is super banged up. And then when you willingly sit the best replacement corner DB that you have on the team in Eric Rowe, that doesn't help us either. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, I did say this watching the game. Tua still gets the ball out in what I think he's 7th fastest in the league. You know what I'm saying? So he's still getting the ball out in time. And the O-line looks good. Maybe it's a combination of him getting the ball out and the O-line being decent enough. You know what I'm saying? But we look so good on offense right now that as much as I want to go get an offensive lineman, it's like, I mean, should we go get an O-lineman or should we go get some defensive help right now? So it's why I don't have the GM position yet. But if I did have it, I would know what to do. I'm just saying. With that question being said, Kadeem, I'm gonna ask the question one more time on this podcast, and this is for everyone listening. Please give us your answer in the comments on YouTube, on IG, on Twitter. Let us know the answer to this question, and I'm gonna ask Kadeem this question as well. Would you rather have the Dolphins defense on the field with 2 minutes left and you're up 2 points? Super Bowl. This is Super Bowl, by the way. Would you rather have the Dolphins defense on the field up 2 points with 2 minutes left? Or would you rather have the Dolphins offense on the field down 4 with 2 minutes left in the Super Bowl? Hey, before you answer the question, Kadeem, I remember your answer from last time, bro.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, all right.
And I think I was literally going to say the Dolphins are up 4, but they're trying to see out the game.
No, we're up 2. We're up 2. Dolphins. If the Dolphins defense are on the field, we're up 2.
If you let me finish.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I was making my point. So today against the Lions, the Dolphins are up 4, trying to see out the game. Everyone's expecting 1. Everyone. What does Tua do? Drop back. Perfect throw to Tyreek Hill.
Tight window Tua.
Perfect. I think Jeff Okuda even gets his hand up. Doesn't matter. Perfect. And I think the way the offense is at the moment, you can't not put the ball into Tua's hands. You've seen his third down stats. I know people have drawn up on social media his 4th quarter stats as well. When it's I don't know the correct term, but when it's this is when a quarterback earns his money, whatever.
Clutch time. That's what it's called. Clutch time.
When it's clutch time, Tua has shown countless times. You can believe in me. I can put the team on my shoulders. As people want to say, he got that dog in him, whatever. Yeah, it's especially with Mike McDaniel's play career at the moment, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle doing Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle things. I think it'd be very difficult to not put the ball into Tua's hands with Super Bowl down 4.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people answered this question before in our comments, and someone said, I'd rather have the lead. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. You rather have the lead, but at the same time, man, I don't trust nothing about this defense. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's nothing at all about the defense that I trust. This is not a shot like, oh, our defense is trash. I'm not saying that. I just don't trust them. And it's crazy because they come through at times where it's the bend don't break. You know what I'm saying? When it's 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, they come through for us. You know what I'm saying? We shut out a couple teams at halftime, like no points for the rest of the half. So it's a dynamic that we're not used to, but at the same time, I don't trust it. So if we're in the Super Bowl this season and there's an option, there's a choice that I had to make, like, would you rather have your defense on the field with 2 minutes left in the game and you're up 2 points? Or would you rather have your offense on the field with 2 minutes left in the game and you're down for it? I'm putting the ball in Tua's hands and letting the legend grow. For real, for real. Listen, we about to get into bonus time. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Alrighty.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time.
Were those better W's or?
Those were better W's, bro. I don't know what you was doing before.
Again, my fingers were crossed. Like it's yeah.
This guy.
Trade deadline. So we've now established that Mike Messick is going nowhere. Like, let's not do this. Let's not mess around there.
Trade deadline's Tuesday, right?
Yeah. But this offensive line was banged up and needed additions prior to Liam Eichenberg's, we believe, season-ending injury. Now, Liam Eichenberg wasn't having his best season. Hadn't had the best time since making the jump up to the NFL. I asked this question before about moving Connor Williams from centre to left guard and bringing a centre, or do you just outright bring in a left guard?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take your answer has not changed, but so my question to you is more, is it now imperative that the Dolphins bring in offensive line help and starter quality, not just for this season, but going forward as well? Or do you keep Snell at right guard, so right tackle,
Jackson, and put Austin Jackson at left guard?
For the podcast, Austin Jackson left guard. Yeah.
So that's what I thought. That was my first natural inclination, was to put Austin Jackson at left guard because Eichenberg went down. Then I thought, where's Tyler McKinley? What's that guy doing? You know what I'm saying? Was he that bad, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could have swore he had a pretty good first season. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. I don't know. Here's my thing, Kadeem. Yes, there's no such thing as too many offensive linemen or too many defense or too many linemen, period. You can never have enough linemen and you could never have enough DBs. So if you could only have one, yeah, I'm gonna say, all right, go get a lineman. But again, when I just said that O-line doesn't look horrific, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like the 32nd ranked O-line anymore. There was a window of games where Teddy and Skyler were back there, and we were like, yo, do we want Tua to come back behind this line? Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, so now it makes me think, does Tua just make the line look better because he's getting the ball out fast enough? You see what I'm saying? So for my dollar, I don't have to make those decisions. and I don't have to put in the time to try to deduce where the problem is. Like who is the problem? What is the problem? Where is the problem? So that's someone who gets paid more than I do, whether it's Coach or Chris Greer. That has to get determined because I don't know if the line is fixed or if Tua's getting the ball out faster and it's making the line look better. But at the same time, all of those are needs. We need more DBs and we need more O linemen. So me and you were both on the podcast on Fins Up Friday and said, yes, we think they make a trade before the first. So I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, and credit to where the offensive line, or credit to where credit due in terms of the offensive line. That touchdown to Gesicki and the one to Waddle, where Tua had time in the pocket to progress through his reads. The third down throw to Tyreek Hill, which Tua had time in the pocket. That being said, yeah, let's get a starter, be at right tackle, be at center, be at left guard. I still believe something needs to be done. Jerry Jeudy had himself a game in London. The Broncos won. So I'm going to naturally assume that the Broncos aren't going to blow it up. They're probably going to keep Bradley Chubb, keep Jerry Jeudy. But the other one, do you get Teron Armstead? So do you know how Teron Armstead tried to put, or I believe we put Drew Brees and Tua in contact so they can, talk that kind of stuff. Do we get Agent Teron Armstead on the phone again and say, yo, call Alvin Kamara? Now, I believe you said you wanted to see CMC in Miami if it meant that the Bills didn't get CMC.
Yeah.
And it is believed that the Bills reached out to Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Do you make that trade to stop the Bills from getting him, even though it seems at the moment the Bills aren't getting him? Or do you just make the trade regardless because it's Alvin Kamara? Or do you, again, focus on other areas of the team, mostly DB, linebacker, offensive line?
So that's crazy because I thought about that when I seen the Bills trying to acquire him, or the rumor was that they were trying to acquire him, and I was trying to wonder if the Bills are playing chess or checkers. Like, are the Bills trying to put that out there so the Dolphins could try to waste assets? You see what I'm saying? Or is there a real interest here? Because I actually like Alvin Kamara better than CMC. I think Alvin Kamara is the better running back today. But he's going to be suspended next year for sure for some amount of time, 100%. And if I look at his contract right now, just put it up on Spotrac, he is making 11 and a half this year, 11 next year, 11, 8, and get this, 25 million. And
I can see what I'm doing that.
In 2025. So yeah, they're gonna try to get out of that. So here's the thing. But obviously, everyone knows he's not gonna get that. So the dead cap for next season is at 19 million. So that means you're gonna keep him next year. However, after next season, which is 2023, you can cut bait with him and only accrue a $9 million dead cap. That's a lot, but he's only on the books for 11.8. That's a lot of money. So this is another running back you'll have for 2.5 seasons. If we were to trade for Alvin Kamara this season, he would be on the Dolphins for 2.5 seasons, and we would give him 22, 23, about $30 million for 3 seasons. So 2.5 seasons. I don't love it. I don't mind it, but I don't think we need it. Like, I do think Mostert is doing his thing. I do think I don't know if Alvin Kamara comes in on the Miami Dolphins tomorrow and makes it look like, oh, look how better the Dolphins run game is. I don't think that is what happens. And I don't know if you're willing to pay $30 million so the Bills don't get Alvin Kamara. Not only $30 million, but a pick too, because you're gonna have to give them a pick. You have to give them assets, and I don't know if you're willing to do that. because I don't think I am. But yeah,
it's one of those things where, yeah, I think it's more the jump from when Mostert isn't in. So again, you mentioned when Chase Edmonds came in, and the offense kind of seemed to stall a bit.
right.
If your 1-2 punch is Alvin Kamara and Raheem Mostert, then I don't think there's a conversation about going conservative. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally, I had a conversation. Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks running back? It's definitely Walker.
Kenneth Touche is 24. Kenneth Walker the third.
Just had a beautiful run for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where, and talking about the draft, I always get angry because I'm just like, should have had two first round picks, but is what it is. But I have to believe that I would like to think that the needs in the draft are linebacker, DB, and an offensive line. And to give up one of those draft picks, regardless of kind of, I say regardless. Listen, if the Saints are giving up Kamara for a 7th round pick, you do it and don't even worry about it. But to give up a somewhat premium draft pick and to spend that much money when the Dolphins aren't flush with cash at the moment, I think with all these conversations about players from Kamara to CMC to Jerry Jeudy, listen, if the pick is right, then you can't say no. But especially with the injury to Liam Eichenberg, in my opinion, I don't get paid to make the decision, but we have Go Time Dolphins. Offensive line has to be the priority before the trade deadline closes. And I guess if anything, the injury to Liam Eichenberg means that teams are going to increase the price because they know the Dolphins are desperate.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, you have to just bite the bullet and say, you know what? It is what it is, because the Dolphins have now lost, even if you're not playing at a starter level, they have lost a starter on the offensive line. And yes, you can plug him in with Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson was just starting right tackle. So the Dolphins are now officially down an offensive lineman for the season. And next man up is a great story, but let's next man up with a guy from outside who's gonna, play to an absolute all-pro level.
Yeah. 1-2 punch isn't $30 million though. So you might want to find a 1-2 punch out there, someone out there that's less than $30 million. However, I think this Dolphins offseason is going to look more like the one we just passed, where they spent money on people to come in as opposed to building through the draft. And it's because the window's open right now. So I don't think they're going to concentrate too much on the draft this year. I think they're going to make sure in free agency they acquire O-line help. I think they make sure they acquire whatever help they want in free agency this year and just let the draft come to them, or they move draft pieces like, hey, we're trying to win now, so we don't mind paying for it right now, like Alvin Kamara, if we're going to pay for a running back. But I highly doubt the Alvin Kamara talk is real. But I think if you were to acquire Alvin Kamara, it would be for a minimum of a 3rd round pick, minimum. So you're probably looking at multiple 3rd round picks, but it's going to be a minimum of a 3rd round pick.